My dad's stepkids are obnoxiously loud, so I want to leave without telling anyone.
You hear that?
I, male 28, am a law student. Over the last 4 semesters, I've focused exclusively on university, which has caused me to accumulate a lot of stress. When I told my father 70,
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Hey, you know,
That's...
age is just a number. Better late than never.
When I told my father 70 how stressed I was, he invited me to spend 3 weeks with him and his partner, female 63, at a beach house my family owns on the Atlantic coast. I happily accepted. After all, a couple of weeks at the beach was just what I needed to unwind. By the way, this comes from u/Joseph Gervaises. And if you want to submit your own stories, please go to OK Storytime subreddit. So, a week before the vacation, my dad told me that his partner's daughter, 42 female, and her 2 kids, male 10, male 8, would be joining us for Christmas. My first reaction was to tell him that I was sorry, but the last thing I needed at the moment was 2 young kids driving me crazy. However, he convinced me to come anyways, assuring me that the kids were well behaved. The first week, when it was just my dad, his partner, and me, was fantastic. We spent our time fishing at the creek, hiking in the woods, and I relaxed by listening to the birds sing. But everything changed at Christmas. The well-behaved kids can't go half a second without screaming at each other. Every time they eat or use the bathroom, they leave everything an absolute mess. Worst of all, their mom keeps them glued to screens all day to keep them from bothering her, which means I have to put up with their loud, crappy music and constant free fire sound effects blaring at full volume. How else is she gonna teach? I mean, how else is she gonna parent? You know, so let the screen do it.
That's not... Oh, yeah, okay.
Dude, the second I have a kid, 3 things are going to happen.
Oh, no.
Number 1, all they're going to be able to watch movie-wise is Jackie Chan movies, specifically in his South Korea era. Number 2, all they're going to play is Baba Is You. And everything is going to be in a different language than English.
Okay.
All right. Yesterday, when it was just my dad and me, I told him that the situation was unbearable and that I was seriously considering catching the bus back home. He told me he understood, but I should explain myself to his partner and her daughter so they wouldn't feel bad. I don't know about that.
I don't like this at all. These are... I would say something and be like, hey, that's not the right thing. No, you're not doing this right.
I'd just be like, hey, after Christmas, stay until after Christmas. Be like, hey, actually, I'm going to go see some other family. Bye.
Get your gifts first. And then you're like, yeah, you know what? I'll take my gifts. Thanks.
Yeah, you don't need to explain to them. This is where we disagree in my view. I don't owe either of them an explanation. So would I be the a-hole if I left without saying anything? Update. Yeah, no, you're not the a-hole. Because, like, come on, just make up an excuse and leave. Don't be like, I can't be here around your loud kids.
I don't like telling parents how to, raise their kids.
Oh, I love it.
But, like, that's like one of my things of like, hey, maybe I'll give you, like, this is how I would raise my kids.
Yeah.
But if this is how your kids are, you'd be like,
no, I love it.
I make a suggestion.
I tell my aunt every time her son does something wrong, I'm like, hey, you got to make sure he doesn't do that. Every time. Every second I can. I'm like, hey, you can't let him do that. Hey, he just ate another dessert. You shouldn't let him do that. He'll get big.
And guess what they say? You can't tell me how to raise my kids. They're my kids.
I actually don't. I don't tell them what to do. I just stay out of it because,
yeah. I think what OP's trying to do is
leave peacefully. I think you can. That's easy to do.
Make a lame excuse. I'm not feeling well.
All right. Update. My dad, his partner, and the kids went fishing at the stream. I decided to stay at the house to enjoy a moment of peace. Later, my dad invited me to return to the stream at night, just the 2 of us, to do some flashlight fishing. He's 70, dude. That is... Well, my grandpa's almost 70. He's in good health. Okay. I agreed. I saw it as an ideal opportunity for some father-son time together. While we were fishing, he told me that his partner and her daughter were worried because they noticed my discomfort. He said I should make an emotional effort that kids are kids. I responded that the kids are kids thing is just a BS excuse for parenting. Yeah, coming from a 70-year-old, like this guy should be like old-timey. Yeah, back in my day, we played with sticks and rocks.
And now we're out of sticks.
Yeah. We used to throw rocks at chickens.
Yeah, we only got rocks.
Yeah.
It could be at that age of just like, I don't give a single damn.
Yeah, he's probably at that horny age of like, I don't give a single damn. I just want to hook up with my 63-year-old partner in my Atlantic coastal house.
Loud? What's loud?
Yeah, I don't know. I like this dude. I don't like this dude. For example, when my sister and I vacationed at the beach house in the early 2000s, we were strictly forbidden from using electronic devices during the day. Even at night, we weren't allowed to turn the volume up above 25% as do not disturb the neighbors. Okay. He was understanding and admitted that it's easier for him not to be bothered by loud noises because all he has to do is unplug himself.
That's what I'm saying. Oh,
Deactivating his hearing
aids. I told you. I told you.
I thought it was the other thing.
I'm telling you, he's 7 years old. My man is just like, all right, I don't need to listen to anything.
In short, I'm realizing my dad is making a big effort to make this vacation work for everyone. So I'm going to take the advice of someone who commented on my first post and choose to be an adult by trying to reach a compromise. Tonight, we're all having a conversation, and it's very likely things will get awkward. Wish me luck. Update 2 to the awkward. I'm writing this from the bus on my way home. Okay, things got really awkward. So you can probably guess the outcome of my decision to act like an adult and try to compromise wasn't great. The conversation I was supposed to have with my family didn't even happen because two things went down and made everything escalate quickly. First, I called my grandfather to wish him a happy new year, but when I was talking to him, I noticed he didn't remember one of my cousin's names. That made me realize his Alzheimer's is progressively growing faster than I thought, and I want to spend as much time with him as possible before he loses all his cognition. Okay, so this gets you out of spending more time with them.
I guess, but
I would get on the fastest bus back to grandpa.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good reasoning.
Also, how old is your grandfather? If your dad's 70, how old is this guy? At the end of the day, the family beach house will always be there, and I'll have plenty of chances to spend summers there without any bratty kids around. And speaking of bratty kids, the other thing that happened is while I was comfortably napping, they started fighting over the TV remote. I tried ignoring them, but the fight turned physical and they started throwing things. Before I knew it, a kid's speaker landed on my right leg just a few inches away from my balls. This combined with the stress of university and the sadness about my grandfather's health made me snap. Right then I got up, I didn't say a word, and just started packing my stuff to leave ASAP. Once I was done, I apologized to my dad, told him the vacation wasn't working for me, and headed to the bus station. Anyway, to whoever's reading this, I appreciate you and wish you a prosperous 2025.
Thank you.
So, he just got up and left?
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's not okay. I feel like I side with OP on some things. I don't side with OP on other things. OP, I get it, is going through a stressful time in his life.
He just wants to chill out, dude.
This is the one thing. Vacation is supposed to be vacation and no more stress and anxiety. That's what your vacation is for.
Yeah.
But the fact that this was your vacation and you decided, okay, I'll do this with my family kind of thing.
Yeah.
You kind of knew what you signed up for in a way.
Update 3. This is going to be the longest update because it keeps needing some context to make sense. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I'm from a country that went through some pretty intense things during the second half of the 20th century. In the early 70s, there was a military coup that led to a dictatorship that lasted until the mid-80s. This is what? Why are we getting history? Okay.
Let him be.
During this time, some areas of the country where clashes between government troops and the guerrillas were common were turned into military zones. When the dictatorship ended, most of these areas were demilitarized. In the mid-80s, my dad was a newly graduated engineer and newly married to my mom when one of his friends told him about one of the recently demilitarized areas that had major tourist potential. The land was dirt cheap, and it was likely that the area would develop, making its value shot up in the common decades. My dad, who's always had a good sense for business, saw it as a long-term investment and bought a 560 square meter, around 6,000 square foot plot from the government for an insanely low price. In the following years, my parents started building a vacation home on that place. To put it mildly, was pretty under development. There was no electricity or running water, so we had to use kerosene lamps for light, bathe in well water. You get the idea. As the years went by, my dad's friend's prediction came true. The area became super popular with city folk looking to get away, and the government started investing in infrastructure. The value of the house went up. Things were going great for my family until everything went downhill in the 2000s. First, there was a major economic crisis, so the company my dad worked for was sold to foreign investors, and he got laid off. And the worst part, my mom was diagnosed with booby cancer, breast cancer. We can say breast.
I was gonna say, you can say breast cancer.
Okay, breast cancer. So my dad was left with 2 young kids, no job, and his wife battling a horrible illness. With the severance pay, my dad started a keychain manufacturing business, which my mom also helped with when she was able to. The business did pretty well, and between that and the income from renting out the vacation house during the tourist seasons, they managed to make ends meet. But just when it seemed like things were starting to look up, everything went south again. My mom's cancer spread to her brain. From then on, her health steadily declined, and she passed away in 2007 at just 42 years old. Dang. Ugh.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into what happened in the years after that because it's not important for the story. I'll just say that going through my teenage years without my mom was tough, and it marked me in many ways I'm still dealing with. Also, according to the inheritance laws in my country, the vacation house was divided equally among my dad, my sister, and me, so we each got a third. As time passed, the town kept developing faster and faster. Also, my sister and I entered the workforce, and together we invested money into fixing up the house to rent it out for a better price. The house, which didn't even have water or electricity at first, is now one of the most comfortable and best equipped homes in the area. A few years ago, my dad, my sister, and I made an agreement. Since we all own the house equally and the tourist season in that area lasts 3 months, December to February, each of us gets 1 month to do whatever we want with it. Use it for our vacation to rent or to rent it out to tourists for extra income. This arrangement has been working perfectly so far. My dad takes January, and that's how I mentioned in my earlier post happened. I was stressed out with my university. My dad invited me to spend a few weeks in the vacation house. The bratty kids made everything miserable, and I apologized for my dad and left early. Right now, I'm a little short on cash, and February is my amount to have the house, so I decided to rent it out for some extra income. Well, 2 days ago, the mom of the bratty kids texted me saying she was going to stay at the house for a few days in February. My month.
Oh. No, that doesn't work like that. You don't get that. I'm sorry, is it your third? It's my third.
It's not even her third. It's OP's dad's partner's daughter. You feel me?
I'm sorry. Again, you don't get that. That's not for you.
Well, I told her the price would be $55 per night. Okay, all right. A few minutes later, she called and told me she thought I was doing her a favor because we're a family. I told her that actually I was doing her a favor since renting a house with amenities during peak season usually costs at least $65 a night.
Oh, wow. You gave me the family discount, $10 cheaper. Amazing.
She hung up on me without saying a word, and now here I am, wondering what I'll have to do to get her to leave the house free for the tourists I've already booked for the first few days of February. I really hope it doesn't get to the point where I have to call the cops. Wish me luck. We have 2 more updates. Oh, he's probably going to have to call the cops.
That's going to make things a lot stickier.
Ugh.
I don't think so. He's
so?
gonna, maybe he's going to talk to his dad.
I think so too. But he's 70. That woman could probably do whatever she wants to him. Old man, can't tell me what to do. You don't think so?
I think the old man has some powers still.
I doubt it. I don't think so.
We'll see. I think he's gonna talk.
Update 4. This is going to be the last update I make about this because I don't think there's anything else to add. The thought of what might have happened if I couldn't get to these people to leave peacefully had been taking up way too much space in my head over the past week. After all, my sister and I had worked hard to build up a reputation as honest property owners among tourists, and I didn't want all of that to go to waste. In one of my earlier posts, someone commented calling me an a-hole lawyer, to which I replied that I've been part of a program for years where other lawyers and advanced law students provide free legal advice to residents of underprivileged neighborhoods and those who can't afford a private attorney. Well, last week I remembered a case from a few years ago where my team and I held a single mom gain ownership of a house she and her daughter were living in. Turns out that single mom is the niece of the police chief in the same town where my family's vacation house is. Small country vibes where everyone everyone knows everyone. Interesting. So he has a little in.
Everybody knows everyone. So good on OP has connections.
OP has some connections.
So you might be right here.
When the chief found out that I was the only one who led the team that helped his niece, he reached out to say how grateful he was that he owed me a favor. First thing Monday morning, I called him and explained my whole situation with the mom and her bratty kids. He told me not to worry and that he'd take care of it. By the way, we'll take care of you. If you want to hear more stories like this, just go to your favorite podcast platform and search up OK Storytime. We're right there.
Right there. I see you. You see me? I see you.
Do you think she gets arrested?
I don't think she's gonna get arrested.
What?
Because I think she should be like escorted off. Like, hey,
yeah,
you're not allowed here. I don't think there's gonna be like any fight from her and the kids, because I would be scared if a cop did that. I'd be like, all right, whatever you say, officer.
Yeah.
So, and then it's gonna lead to what happened. So
yeah, true.
Which may cause a lot of tension, but who cares?
A few hours later, I got a WhatsApp from the mom saying she'd be out the next day, and she actually followed through. Apparently, a couple of community officers, unarmed police officials who handle nonviolent issues, showed up at the town's house and told the mom they'd be getting a lot of reports about illegal home occupants in the area. They asked her if she'd seen anything sus, and of course she said no. Then one of them handed her a business card. That was all it took for her to get the hint that the authorities weren't going to put up with squatters. So she packed her bags and left on the first bus out the next morning.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That was pretty nice.
I feel like communication was not very communicated well here. Yeah, unfortunately.
Not at all.
But I mean, if that's how OP works, is magic, and that's how he wants to do things, and I guess that's how it is.
It just shocks me that she felt like she deserved this and that she was...
Oh, yeah. Very entitled and like,
I'm
who are you?
supposed to have this.
Do it for the kids. Do it for the kids.
Yeah.
That's the end of that story.
We're done here. But if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.